My life has definitely been changed because of live events, and I will always go to live events because of all the amazing changes that happened for me.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Shane Sams Show. Excited to be back with you again this week because I have one of my favorite friends, Dustin Heiner. What are you doing, son?
What is up, Shane? Super blessed to be on your show, man. Obviously, you and I have been friends for quite a long time, and you and I seeing each other in our businesses. I see what you do in your business. I get inspired, and hopefully vice versa. It's just great. Then we get to hang out. We're podcasters. That's the best thing. We're podcasters. We get to have a good time.
You have to remember that. All this other crap that we're going to talk about and that we do, like I do love the identity of I'm a podcaster. I just like it. Like I've always called myself a podcaster. I don't even really call myself like a speaker or a CEO. Like when people ask me what I do, I just say I'm a podcaster, man. Because like there's something I find that the most growth happens on these shows where I'm just talking to my friends. And then also like the best relationships with my audience gets built when people can just sit back and relax, flip this on in the car or at the gym, and then they come up to you at some live event and they're like, oh man, I know everything you've done in the last 6 years.
Well, and also when you meet somebody at a live event, that's when you just talk about, like, you go to the sessions and listen to the speakers, they're fine and all, but I grow so much more after that when I'm talking to my friends or random people that I just met, like, oh, you're doing that in your business? Wow, that's pretty awesome. Let me see how that can affect mine. And then you connect and then you become friends. So yeah, absolutely, when you connect with people, that's how everything gets better.
Something different about being live, bro. It's just like, and especially now that like everything is so automated AI, like you just know half the crap people are even posting on social media is just some AI farm, man. Even especially on like YouTube. And it's like, there's some, put me in a room with 200 people right now. I would much rather be doing that than almost anything else. I think that's why I like podcasting so much too, because like podcasting, like you can't AI this. You can, but like it's not going to be like just two dudes talking on.
People will see right through it. Absolutely.
Yeah, man. It's good stuff. Well, real quick, Dustin, catch everybody up. Tell everybody, let's get your background real quick, and then we're going to go deep into like live stuff here in a minute.
Absolutely.
You do it. You're like me. You have like 97 things you're known for, and I want you to pick the ones you want to tell everybody about real quick.
Oh, okay. So and you don't know this, but I'm gonna walk you through a train of thought of where we're going in my business, and this is the reason why you and I were talking before we started recording that I don't believe there's a midlife crisis for guys like us. And the big reason why is because we keep building things. So yes, I'm a real estate investor. I started investing back in 2006, bought property after property, eventually had so many properties that I didn't need to work anymore, quit my job. And then people were asking me how to do it. So I said, oh, that's pretty interesting. Let me just start showing people. And I realized I enjoyed it. But number two, I realized that I had plenty of time that I could keep doing it. So fast forward, after not having a job, wrote a bunch of books, started a podcast. We're at 2 million downloads now, YouTube channel, courses and coaching, and now conferences, live events, because my goal at first was to quit my job in 10 years. So in 2006, I said, I'm going to quit my job in 10 years. Praise the Lord, check. I finished that and accomplished that goal. Then I created a new goal. The new goal was to make $1 million in all of my businesses a year. And I kid you not, Shane, you're probably the same way. Like that money goal, it was just a quantitative goal that I can hit to know that I reached that goal, but it was the worst goal ever. I'm not driven by money, and money would be fine to have, but it was the worst goal ever. And I felt it was deterring me from my goal. I switched it to now my new goal is to help 1 million people to invest in real estate and become financially independent. That's my ultimate goal. And then everything I do in my life now is focused on doing that. Now, the great thing is I make more money that now I focused on other people because I help them get what they want. They become wealthy, they become financially independent, and I get what I want. If they come to my events, they connect with people, they get with good companies to work with, or they find good deals or whatever. They pay a little bit of money for a ticket, but they change their life forever. And so my goal now is to serve people, to help 1 million people to invest in real estate. And the quick last thing, because I want you to chime in. The last thing that I was talking about just before, where we were talking about midlife crisis and building things.
Yeah. So real quick, what we were talking about, we were talking about like how like we're seeing all these people having midlife crises, and like we're jokingly talking about that, and then you were going to comment on people like guys like us don't. Maybe it's because we refuse to grow up. I just refuse to grow up, so I refuse to have a midlife crisis. What were you saying about it?
That's a very good point. I'm the same way. I refuse to grow up. But here's what I think is when people have a midlife crisis, it's because they worked for somebody else for 30 years of their life, not building anything for themselves, not making themselves any happier other than working for the weekend. And they're living just over broke, working that job, that just over broke job. And by the time they get to midlife, 40, 45, 50, they start realizing I did not accomplish anything in my life. Not like us, not guys like us. We literally have a purpose, and our purpose is always to be building things, helping people, and making everybody around us better. And so that's why we don't have midlife crisis, because we've already accomplished so much in our lives. So that's check, that's gone. But number two, we're constantly moving forward. One quick last thing I'll share: the big vision of my conference is I basically want an ecosystem for every single real estate investor in every aspect of their business. So track with me here. Think of a wheel. A wheel has a hub that connects to the car. Well, the wheel then has spokes that goes out to the tire that goes around it. Well, my hub, the center of my business, is real estate investing. That's the center. Everything else splinters off from that, or as a spoke out from that, because it's all interconnected and they work together. So all my coaching, when I coach hundreds, thousands of students now, that is a spoke. The coaching arm is a part of the wheel. Then you think of, okay, well, what about any advertising in your podcast? That's another one. Now, here is a great thing we're moving into. If we have people that want to borrow money, well, they're going to buy a house, they're going to invest in a property. I have investors that want to invest with me that I then lend out. So we have money coming in. That's in a business. Then lending money. That's another business. So think of software companies like Zillow. It'd be great to buy Zillow and have that be a part of our ecosystem. That's big picture, is like, let's start buying software companies. Now, here's another arm of it. It's the live events, which you and I could definitely geek out on all this. But we're going to have 4 live big events, hopefully 1,000 to 2,000 people events a year. Right now, this year, we're having 2, the Real Estate Wealth Builders Conference and the Real Estate Wealth Builders Commercial Real Estate Investing Conference. Eventually, we're going to have Rubicon Ignite. Rubicon is the short name for a Real Estate Wealth Builders Conference. We're even going to have quarterly masterminds where it's like a retreat, a mastermind. We're even had adventures like where we go on cruises together. And we're also going to have monthly, this is going to be called Rube Clubs instead of like a RIA, Real Estate Association.
And Rube stands for Real Estate Wealth Builders. That's what that stands for. Rube.
So the Real Estate Wealth Builders Club.
It's not the other kind of Rube. You stupid Rube.
Most people don't know that term, so that's
I
why
do. I'm a well English Kentuckian, son. What are you talking about? I think we still call people Rubes in my small little town in Southeast Kentucky, man.
That's the whole ecosystem.
Yeah, man. It's crazy. Like, it's funny, like the path, like that we all take, really, because it's like we all know that we want to teach people and help people with what we've figured out, and then for some reason you have to. We get into the content game, then we start coaching, then we build courses, then we build communities. But it's rare. I think that's where some people stop. Some people will dabble with a mastermind, like they'll host a mastermind, get it in person. Masterminds, anything live, guys, is like there's so many moving parts you don't even know and comprehend until you actually. I don't care if it's a 10-person mastermind. There's a lot of moving parts of that. And then going on into the live events, like we did, like I just came out of a 4-year stint of building a live event company.
I remember you doing that. I was like, what are you doing, Shane? This is awesome.
No, it's crazy. And then like I look over and I see you doing it. And I'm like, he caught my insanity. That's the definition of insanity. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, I spoke at Rubicon last year. It was freaking awesome. It was amazing. The conversations at night were just epic. You know what I'm saying? Like when you meet people, especially when you're a speaker and you go up on stage, everybody wants to talk to you, right? And you just meet all these amazing people, and when you meet people online, the connections don't really they take longer to form, right? But when you're on stage, shake someone's hand, have a drink 2 nights in a row, you're just eat lunch with them, like it's just over. You're friends at that point.
Absolutely.
So what was the insanity mosquito that bit you? and was like, I'm going to do a conference. Like what, like where was, like what inspired you to do it? Because, you know, like you normally the masterminds come first, not the, hey, I wonder if I can get 300 people to show up and not go bankrupt.
I don't do things halfway or like partially. I am all in. Well, here's actually, I'm going to even bring it back to you. I think I'm just writing your coattails, but it seems like, obviously in my own way. So in 2020, right before COVID shut everything down, you convinced me to start a membership because I got so tired of doing courses and selling courses because people weren't finishing it. My goal is to help them, not just to make money on a course. And so you said, you need to make a membership. Fast forward, made a membership, loved it, got to be in my students' lives. It was so much better. And I loved it. Then about 2 years later, my students were saying, hey, can we have a meetup? Like, we're friends online. We talk to each other online. Can we do something in person? My first thought was, well, we could do a small meetup, you know, and put together a place where everybody flies in and all that sort of stuff. But putting an event for 50 people, it's still a lot of work. It's not that easy. And I thought, you know what?
50, that's 50 human bodies in a room, dude. Just getting
Correct.
them to the city is difficult. Yeah.
Absolutely. And then I thought, you know what? I've put on many events before. I've worked in my church. I've literally started dozens of ministries, done I can't even count how many events I've done. So events are not the hard part for me because I've done it literally countless times. Then I thought, you know what? I also have amazing friends that I've learned that I've made when going to conferences, podcasting, networking with other people that are great expert investors that have their own communities. And I said, you know what? Let me call them all up. And this will be the gauge to do it. If everybody says, no, I don't want to be a part of it, then I'm not going to do it. But I kid you not, every single friend of mine that I called up and said, hey, you're a real estate investor, you have your own community. How about, you know, we all want to have a meetup for our communities. How about I do all the hard work and put together, you just bring your community. I'm going to bring we're all bringing our communities together. Fast forward, the first year we had 28 speakers. Amazing time, like 200 people there. The following year, I think we had 400 people. The following year, we had 500 people. So that's how it started for the mastermind the membership that you helped me to get down that road, and then seeing that I can connect people, and then saying, let's just go for it.
Yeah, it is so collaborative. Like I met freaking. Well, I mean, one, I got to we run in the same circles, so I got to see a bunch of my friends and your friends. And we were all there hanging out. And then I met a bunch of new people too, at Rubicon, like Marlon Smith, great guy. Me and him have been talking a lot.
Yeah.
Met a great guy named John Casman doing commercial real estate and stuff like that. Like just really cool freaking people, man, all in person. And there's something about too, like when you do it the way you're building it with the networking and the people who are coming together with their communities, there was a baked in trust I could feel when I walked into Rubicon a few months ago. Like everyone I met just trusted they were in the right place because they were invited there by somebody that they trusted, and they were introduced to new people by people they were trusted. It's an instant transfer of trust in person.
You're 100% right, but I'll tell you the secret sauce to this because it doesn't happen by accident. Whoever is the main person, whereas my conference, even though I'm the main person, I try to disseminate all that attention to my speakers. I want them to get attention. But here's the thing. The leader, the key person, must lead with that vision in mind and constantly pound that drum over and over again. And this is how I do it. Number one, in all the marketing, everything that I put out, it's all about community, helping each other. I even state that most real estate events or conferences are sales pitches and hypes and say, now run to the back and go, buy this course. I'm not saying it's a bad thing.
ClickFunnels. ClickFunnels. Oh, I'm sorry.
Exactly.
Bad. Sorry, Russell. I'm not gonna lie. I bought your stuff, Russell. I'm just talking smack.
Exactly. Here. Oh, I think most of us have come across that. Now, in the marketing, I especially say this is a no hype self pitch conference. This is all about helping you. And then from that leading, the first day, as soon as they get there, there's orientation. I get on stage and I literally educate everybody on the vision for the next 3 days that working with us and how they can get the most out of it. That's like when you meet somebody, do not say this, hey, let me tell you about me. I'm a real estate investor. I buy this. The person you're talking is be like, man, this person's a taker. I'm going to go ahead and leave. Instead, the best thing you do is you go to a person, you say, tell me about you. help me to know more about you. What do you invest in? You get interest in another person. So it's from me. And so if anybody's going to be doing something like this, to have such a fantastic community where people are dying for, that's why I'm building more events. They want more things from me because of me leading the charge, saying we're helpful, we're serving, and we're community. We're not anything else like raising lots of money or, hype and sales pitch. So if you're going to go down this route, the reason why you're going to get people returning, and most conferences don't do this. I get 25, 30% returning every year. Some people might skip a year because of whatever, but I have so many people returning because it's about the community, not about the specific event.
Yeah. That's what we did our first event. I got a funny story. I went to an event. The names will be changed to protect the innocent in the story. But I went to an event. It was right when Flip Lifestyle was really taking off, like when our first podcast was really doing well. And we went to this event, got invited to an event. It was probably about 100 people. I can't remember exactly, maybe 80 to 100 people. Went to this event. Our people knew who we were because we had met them in the Facebook group. People were listening to our podcast, and the event organizer even like kind of brought us up on stage or would like let us chime in on things. And there was a lot of cool speakers there. Like Lewis Howes was there, like some big name speakers were there. And there was a speaker dinner that night where you could go. It was almost like a musical. It was like speed dating with the speakers, I guess is what you would call it. Like each one had their table and you could sit with a speaker for a while and then rotate and whatever you did. And it was funny. We walked in and me and Jocelyn, my wife, came in, and there was a table over to the side that didn't have a speaker's name on it. They had handwritten Shane and Jocelyn because they wanted to sit with us. And the event organizer asked me, a lot of people were like, we would like them to speak at this. Now, I was not a speaker at this time, guys. I was not anything. I had no business even thinking about it. But I was, speaking is a natural progression of podcasting and other stuff. So they asked me to speak. They're like, hey, we want you to come. We want you to be a featured speaker next year. And I was like, great. I get home probably the next week. It was probably about 6 or 7 days later. And I got an email. And it said, hey, just wanted to touch base. We wanted to uninvite you from next year, basically. They wanted to rescind the invitation. And they said this. At the bottom, it said, we've decided to go with real speakers for all of our events. And I was like, I'm not a real speaker. And I was so pissed off, dude. This was probably a rage impulse decision. I was like, if they won't let me on their stage, I will build my own stage. And me and Jocelyn said, we're going to put $100,000 into running our own live event. And we're just going to do it. And we did Flip Your Life Live in Nashville. We sold the tickets for $1,000 a pop and got 100 people. We had people flying from Australia, dude, to come to this event. And that's what got me started in the live event. And I didn't know what I was doing at the time. The first live event, guys, you're going to probably lose money. You're going to take some hits in the face. We'll talk more about that here in just a minute. Challenges of it. But like when I saw that, when I made that connection in an in-person audience, it was like nothing I had ever seen in my entire life. And then we did it again the next year. And it was like, and like you said, holy crap, like a bunch of people came back. That's how, and once they're in, and those people that were in those two rooms, those first two events before we went on to build the other company, like they are still our customers, like today, like 8 years later. And the people who just find you online or just do something else, like it's not the same as like a mastermind or a live event. But you do have to do it right. What do you think were some of the biggest challenges? Let's compare war stories here of that first live event. You're an entrepreneur, you're an influencer, whatever you are. You've made the decision. I'm going to add live events, and we'll just throw a big bucket out there of anything from a 10-person mastermind to 500 people in a room, whatever seminar, whatever it is. What was the biggest challenges in the first one?
Always the biggest challenge is getting butts in the seats and people that are the right type of people. I mean, you can give away tickets. You can do that. I mean, that's not a bad strategy. If you're going to be selling something there, it's not bad at all. But you can give away tickets, but they might not be the right people. So for me, the way I got around, and this is how I always get around the problem of finding the right people and put them in the seat, is with as much genuine marketing. When I say marketing, it's like going on other people's podcasts that are a good fit, real estate investors, to on social media posting, hey, this event is so genuine, like you're expressing it out, like this is a community that we're building, this is not a transactional thing, like you're even trying to deter people from coming. So those are types of things that I love to do, plus working with my speakers. Now here's a bad thing. Speakers, you hope as a conference owner or somebody putting on an event, you hope the speakers will bring people. They don't. Only your really good friends will try.
Right.
That's yeah. Like last year we had 40, almost 50 speakers. I think we had 50 speakers. I would say probably 4 of them brought people, actually brought some of their audience. Everybody else just literally took from me. Like I brought everybody in and they got students from it, which that's okay. I'm here to help. That's why I'm doing it. But the biggest hurdle is getting butts in the seats. The second biggest hurdle, and I want to dive into it, but I want to say the second biggest hurdle is getting sponsors, because that's where you make your money in my type of event, because sponsors pay for everything else, because your attendees, they barely pay for like the food and beverage and the hotel and all that sort of stuff.
Dude, if you get 30% of your budget out of your ticket sales like that, and then
exactly,
and then also you said something I want to like. So the live events that I've built are not sponsor based. They are all sales. Like, so it's very obvious, like, hey, we're going to give you a lot of value and they're going to take you somewhere else. Like, so that's one way you can build a live event, is you can sell the tickets. The first event we tried to break even on the ticket sales, and we almost did, but that was just such a high ticket price. You're not going to get a ton of repeat customers every single year. So then if you lower the price, you got to sell something, or if you give it away for free, or you got to get sponsors. I would say those are the only 3 paths I know of to pay for the event. I agree. You either charge a boatload of money for the tickets, or you sell something like a high ticket coaching or something off the back end, or you get sponsors. So how did you get sponsors for the first events?
Oh, so here's a great thing. I've been doing this online business stuff, long time, just like you. And so since 2015, started a podcast. And so I have lots of relationships that I built along the way, especially coaching students. They needed great services that they can use inside their business. And so being an affiliate, I had lots of interaction with lots of different companies. I literally just called up my affiliates, the ones that were really actually, no, I called every single one, because I was like, I need sponsors. So I called
I got to, this is the shotgun. I need 3 of you to say yes. Dang it.
Exactly. Right. We got, I want to say it was either 12 to 15. I can't remember that. It might have been 15 sponsors that came and paid. That's the only reason why I didn't lose money on that specific event, because I had sponsors. But it's so much more work than getting attendees. Attendees, you're throwing out emails, you're doing social media, doing that, Facebook ads. But sponsors, oh my goodness, you have to handhold. It's a sales job. You're just selling. Once they close, it's like, oh my goodness, I talked to them out of all the different times, like 5 hours. And I finally got the close of sale.
Finally got the check.
Exactly.
Oh, geez, man. That's amazing, man.
Well, did you have any tips, or like getting past that first hurdle of getting butts in the seats?
Yeah.
Do you have any things that come to your mind?
I mean, I'll take it from 2 angles, because I've done it 2 ways. Okay. So the first way, which is the longer, harder way, but for some people who are listening, you may already have an audience. Flipped Lifestyle had been around for 4 years. We had built a very good following, very loyal following, big audience, good community, solid paid community. So we had people that were interacting on a weekly, daily basis, right? And that was just done through, like you said, hard work. I mean, it was just going on I probably did 200 podcast interviews in those 4 years, just getting in front of other people's audiences, and also like serving our people, like showing up on the weekly group calls, like giving people great content, like we would feature. I'll tell you another interesting thing. I try to interview my friends. Of course, there's bigger names that come on the podcast and things like that, like are these big, the people you really quote unquote want on your podcast, which really doesn't help you at all, guys. Don't click on Ty Lopez's ads. I promise it's not going to help your brand. Don't do it. Exactly. I'm just bashing everybody today. This is terrible. But like, what was I saying? Oh yeah. Like one of the things that we did on our podcast, I think you might do this too, is that we bring our students on and we talk to them about what they're doing and success stories. And like, those were the people that freaking came, man. I bet if I went back and tracked it, the highest hit rate of our students or people that came to our in-house live events came from people that were my students that I brought on a podcast and built a friendship with, right? Just that relationship marketing. So I think that's a great way to host, especially in the 20 to 100 person mastermind workshop style event is put in the legwork, build your audience, and do it that way. Now, the other
Give
company,
personal invites too.
personal invites.
Personal invites. I'm inviting 100%. Yep.
Yeah. You can bring that in. And you don't really need a sponsor for that. But again, you're going to have to sell something on the back end of that because you are going to, at best, break even on a live event like that. I mean, at best.
Correct. Unless you get sponsors. You're right. If you don't get sponsors or
if you don't get sponsors, you got to sell something.
You lose money.
You got to, yeah, money makes
hotels
the mission
are
possible.
so. Wait, I don't want to go down the route of talking about how horrible hotels are and how expensive they are.
Oh, dude, I wrote down budgets. We're going to talk about that in just a second,
talk about
bro.
That.
No, we're going to talk about those freaking hotels, dude, because they will nickel and dime you to death. And then the other company that I was with, that was straight Facebook ad marketing to a paid event, like a big event, almost like a your event is like an expo. It's like there's lots of breakout sessions, there's like sponsor in the vendors hall, there's all that stuff. The other kind of event is like you put butts in seats by hiring a big name speaker who's like a draw, and like you might charge $25 and you fill this big however many you want to sell. So you do the ClickFunnels style thing where you sell one ticket, everybody comes in, big hall, you have like 10 speakers in one day, and then that sells into like another smaller event of 200 to 500 people, like a workshop. So that's straight funnel building. That is, and I would say the most important thing if you're going to go that route to build a live event, if you want a cold live event like that, is you better have an avatar that is so dialed in that ChatGPT has to tell you what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like you've got to know who you're targeting because you're spending all the money up front to hopefully do something on the back end of that. Now, that's a great sponsor event too. Like a lot of people will do those events where they'll get tons of sponsors. They'll put Shaq or something on this thing. It'll be like Hulk Hogan or some crazy name. You know what I'm saying? They'll have a bunch of draws, get a bunch of people in, and then they might have sponsors too. Or you can sell stuff off the back end. So, I mean, the only way, it's just like everything else with butts and seats for any brand, dude. You have to work your way in or buy your way in. Are you going to roll up your sleeves and build an audience brick by brick, or are you going to pay for Facebook ads to put a bunch of people in the seats and have a strategy to make it profitable? That's about all you can do.
So I'm personally doing like almost all the above, other than paying for big name speakers. I mean,
I think that's actually one of the worst ways to do it. Yes.
Big name speakers.
Oh yeah. Not because you need another layer. You can't just take people to purchase or sponsor with a big name because they're going to come in and get the autograph and leave. They don't really care about. We had this big band one time, dude, that we got at one of our events. We did the LA Convention Center and we had 10,000 people show up. I mean, that's a lot of freaking people, dude, you know?
That
and
is.
We thought,
Jeez.
oh, this is going to be amazing. They came for a rock concert, not to buy anything, bro. Like nobody bought anything. Nobody. So it was one of the worst events ever. Because it was just the wrong
people
audience.
The wrong people.
They came for a brand. They came for the name, and they didn't come for I love how you're building Rubicon and all your other stuff because it's like, hey guys, we're the entity of the conference is the draw, and I think even with a mastermind, like you as the personal brand or the entity of the event, the theme or whatever you're talking about. That's a better long-term strategy. Might not put as many butts in seats early. You're going to have to build up to it. But if you're going to do a live event, I think that hiring just some famous person is not a good idea. I saw a buddy of mine do that one time. He just lost his shirt, dude, and that having they all these so famous speakers. It's terrible.
So I'll give you a quick insight. So there was somebody that on Facebook, because I have conferences, apparently Facebook and Instagram know that I have conference. So they put an ad in front of me saying, hey, we put on the biggest conference in this industry or in our industry. If you want to learn how, and we're going to help you get people in the seats, basically trying to help me to get attendees. Well, I actually got a sales call with him. I was really close to hiring him. But what I realized was their strategy is getting the big name people. But that wasn't the number one strategy. I knew it because I already saw that's what they did. They got A-Rod and Grant Cardone, all that sort of stuff.
Right.
Grant Cardone, on a side note, literally said, oh yeah, this guy's paying me lots of money, so he can ask me whatever question he wants. I'm like, oh my goodness.
Yes.
There you go, Grant. That's pretty good. But here's the catch that I really caught. So he was telling me, he asked me the question, how many people do you come to the event? And I said, okay, last year we had 500 people, but we had maybe 25% return. I'm thinking that's a good thing, 25% return, because I want return customers. He thought it was bad. He said, no, you want to have new people because new people are what's going to bring more money and all that sort of stuff. And I was like, oh, wow. Like we have two different visions for like, I
Yeah.
want to create a community and continually grow with people.
Yeah. And also too, that guy's probably, it's like I said, like it goes back to, the ticket price path, the sponsor path, or the sell things on the back end path, which you can do all of them, by the way, guys. We can talk about that. But like the problem is that guy sounds like, hey, I'm used to promoting live events that are selling something off the back end, which would make you want all new people every time because you don't just want repeat buyers coming in because they won't buy the thing again, right? And then your vision was, no, I want to create a community and that interacts with all these sponsors to serve them. And that's how we're trying to get the buyers. So we want them to be exposed to our sponsors over and over and over again.
Correct.
So that they can create that beneficial relationship. And these are things people don't think about, man, when they do these live events. I know they didn't, because I didn't think about it until I learned it the hard way.
Until you learned it the hard way. Well, one thing I also add, so we don't do any high pressure sales. There's a guy, Ryan Pinea, I think he's in the real estate game. He has like 4 conferences a year, WealthCon, but it's literally sales pitch. Like that's literally, it's constantly. Now at our conference, people come, I coach all the other speakers, they coach. It's not a hard sales pitch, but it's like, hey, you want to come work with us? After we talk, they come, hey, want to work with you? Great, I'll work with you. So you make sales on the back end. We also sponsors. I actually sponsor my own booth, like Master Passive Income, which is my teaching or coaching side of the business, sponsors a booth at Rubicon at my conferences. So we get students there. So there's ways to make sales and continually build a community.
Yeah, after I spoke at your conference, I made sales after the conference because I had 2 people that were in your space they wanted speaker coaching and they wanted to go out and speak, and that's what I do. I teach people how to speak, and like that stuff is organic, right? It's a benefit from like I'm going to Podcast Movement in a couple weeks. I don't know when it is, 2-3 weeks, and I'm not speaking this year. I've spoke at Podcast Movement before. But I'm just going to talk to people because I know there's going to be people there. Like I love their sponsors. They have the best sponsor booths. There's a lot of cool people in there doing cool things for podcasters and content creators and all that stuff. And I know that I'll have auxiliary benefits from that.
You're going to go?
Yeah, are you going?
I hadn't gone for a couple of years. Maybe I'll look into it. I'm chat offline.
Yeah, I'm just going for I'm just going for a couple of days. But I'm going Monday through Wednesday, I think. And okay, it's going to be fun though.
We'll definitely chat about it.
Let's change gears here. I got a couple other things I want to get through. Like, let's talk about people wanting to have a live event. Okay, let's talk about those budgets and how they get demolished. Like, listen, whatever you've ever invested in before, until you need to do a live event just so you can see the mechanics of it. And again, I've made more money on the back end of live events than anything else I've ever done. So there's definitely a path to profitability here. But man, when you start adding it up, you write down your little plan of how much everything's going to cost. And then the hotel tells you what it's going to cost. And then you get to the hotel and they're like, oh, wow, you forgot to add that red wire that costs $800 an hour. Oh, you want more coffee? Do you have a firstborn son?
That's liquid gold. Exactly. Oh my goodness. Coffee is so ridiculous.
What was surprising to you when you started doing these live events?
So, coffee is one, which we'll go down that rabbit hole really quickly. But the biggest one was AV or audio visual. Oh my goodness. I'll quickly go down the rabbit hole of coffee, but then I want to get to AV. So coffee, 1 year, my assistant didn't do a good job. The hotel asked, how much coffee would you want to put out? She said, I don't know, and then didn't reply. Well,
that's a bad answer in a negotiation.
The hotel said, okay, we set it to consumption. And here I am thinking, okay, consumption. You make a big, huge thing of coffee, you consume it all. Let's make another one. Let's fill it up. I thought that's what consumption was. No. This hotel said, consumption. You told us you're going to have 400 people there. We just arbitrarily assume they're going to drink 8 cups of coffee a day each, or every time you put it out. So they added it all up, even though they didn't even make it. They said, you owe us $17,000. This is like 400
for coffee, bro. Oh my
$17,000. What is going on? And so, liquid gold. It's like $100, $115 a gallon plus service fees.
Hey, listen, it's like that too, guys. If you're everywhere, like we did Joss and I did like I don't remember how many, 15, 20 person per little event in Tampa one time. And we did it at the aquarium. I bet coffee cost more than the alcohol we put on the boat we rented. It was ridiculous, man.
It's
And coffee's the
ridiculous.
cheapest thing in the grocery store. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you talking about? But it's that service charge. That's how they get you. The
Well, the
service
service charge on top of that's 25% on top of whatever you spend. And then you also have the taxes, the city taxes. I mean, so expenses. But here's what I want to get to. Audio visual. My first event, all I had was 2 screens on left and right on the main stage. And then I think 3 rooms that were have a projector and a screen and recording. And I was getting quotes for $70,000 for that.
Ugh.
I thought, what in the I literally build a business. I'll buy that myself, save at least $50,000, build a business, and then have that business run with me. It was so ridiculous. And I was really blessed to find a great company. I think I spent $17,000 that first year. Like, he was really good, really competitive. $17,000 for all the audio visual because they have manpower and stuff. But the hotels themselves have a contracted AV company, and those guys
and they
never
charge
use
you a
them.
fee if you bring in your own stuff.
Correct.
Some hotels will actually charge. Like, we were at an event in Cincinnati one time, and the house audio, we were just going to plug into house audio in the ballroom we were in, and it sucked. It sounded like walkie talkies from '87 or something like that. It was ridiculous. And then I was like, well, how much is it to get the encore or the AV people to bring in something? And it was so insane. We just went and bought our own speakers and took the charge because it was so expensive. They were like, oh yeah, if you bring it in, it'll cost you everything you have. Like, what? That's a lot of money. What are you talking about? So we just went and bought speakers ourselves and plugged them into our own mics and said, forget this. We'll just bring our stuff with us from now on.
Another one on top of the AV. So big tip is literally shop around. I've got at least 8 quotes, if not 10 quotes, before I finally found the right one. They did a fine job. Another one is Wi-Fi. How in the hell do you charge $10,000 for Wi-Fi per day?
And it's crappy. It's not even good.
And it's horrible. Oh, yeah. I just like, you want me to pay 20 grand for you to have Wi-Fi? No. So what I did was I looked online, and there was a company that ships you this crate that has Wi-Fi signal. They like little Wi-Fi things, but for like 100 people. So I saved like 8 grand providing Wi-Fi by this little crate that I shipped in.
Yeah, if you any event you're running, don't ever trust the hotel. Like, and also too, you can negotiate if you're really. We got better at negotiating with the hotels because they're starting at the highest possible spot. You know what I'm saying? And if you go get quotes that are find your hotels that are nearby, get quotes from other hotels, because you got to go into those discussions with any Airbnb, hotel, whatever it is, and you got to be like, well, the guy across the street said this. Can you match? Because we really want to be here.
Oh,
and
yes, they will.
They will negotiate with you once you get into that. All right, so we're talking about
that's before quick thing before you get in the contract. That's the contract signing. Once you're contracted, nope, it's letter of the law.
And listen, we lucked out. So we were going to do another Flip Your Life Live in 2020. We were probably a week from signing the contract for the hotel, and the world shut down, and we didn't sign that contract. But I know multiple of my friends who had live event contracts signed up for 2020, and the hotels would not let them out of them. They just would not let them go, and they were like, nope, you took the space, you did the thing, and they just like had to fight them tooth and nail. And some of them didn't get out of them. The hotels just said, we have a contract. You know what I'm saying? That's just the way it. And you couldn't have couldn't have a successful event with everybody sitting 6 feet apart, because that's
you can't.
Butts in the chairs, man. All right, let's talk about I'm not trying to, I thought this was going to be a glorious, glamorous romp through why everybody should host a live event, but really we've just talked about, I think we've talked everyone out of ever doing anything live, but that's not, there's a lot of benefits.
You see, I'm already like, I started with 1. And now my vision for the conference, the company, is to have 4 large events and 4 small retreats. Like, it's growing just from one event. So I see the value of having it, especially getting the message out there, serving people. And if you do it right, you make money. And
yes,
so
you do.
You already have the staff. Let's go ahead and add more things to it.
So I've got 3, there's 3 categories of benefits I've really thought about when it comes to like the live events we do. And like you know, live events to me are always going to be a part of what I do because they're just awesome. So like, 1, I think there's some selfish benefits. Like, there are some emotional benefits to the person, like to you running a live event. it can really reignite the passion you have for your business and your community. Like if you're getting a little bored, if everything's online, like doing a, even small mastermind retreats, really, there's a lot of emotional benefit to that. When you do a bigger event, and this is maybe a more masculine thing, I guess, but like I am cracked out high before and during and after the event. It's the closest thing I've ever felt running a live event to that feeling I got when I coached football and we were running out of the tunnel, or that feeling when I played sports and there was a big game like on Friday. Like, do you feel that excitement leading up to the event and like that energy?
Absolutely.
Yeah, man.
Now, being the main person, that's the best feeling, especially when you see people getting what they want and they're thanking you for them spending their time and money to come and take part in it. But here's the one thing to key to. So conferences take a lot of work and take a lot of planning. And what I suggest is two different things. Number one, you have the right people running the event during the event so that all you are going to do is walk around and talk to people, talk to sponsors, make sure everybody's having a good time. You should
You're
not
the
be
head
running
coach.
the event. You're the head. Exactly.
You're there for fourth down. Everybody else is doing everything else. That's the goal.
Exactly. Now that's coupled with, so you make sure everybody else is also doing the work. But here's the thing. Remember when I said it takes a lot of work? There are going to be times in the entire year, if you're doing multiple years, like year after year after year, that it's going to be like, oh, why am I doing this? I can't, last year was so hard. Why am I doing it again? Well, what you do is I literally every year, I take about maybe 20 minutes and I just walk through the halls and just cherish this. I need to draw on this in 6 months from now when it's really hard, or like a month before the event when it's really, really hard. Okay, it's worth it. It's worth it. It's worth it. That's what I suggest you do.
Yeah. Yeah. I even like too I do like the tiredness of planning and the stress of it, because I think when you're a high achiever, you're trying to be an entrepreneur, speaker, coach, podcast, or whatever you're trying to do, like things can get routine really fast, and the challenge needs to exceed the skill set.
Totally.
And no matter how good you are at a live event, like I've ran a lot of live events. Every single one is going to be different. There's going to be something happen that's never happened before. There's going to be just different variables, different people involved. And like, it's good emotionally as an entrepreneur to continually having those things that can challenge the skill set. And even if you host like a 20, 30 person mastermind for like do a cruise, or you go down to everybody's all inclusive and you just charge them 10K and you pay for all the hotels or whatever. Like that takes that coordination to another level, and it makes you love the rest of your business, because all the other parts of your business have to feed that emotional, intense week. And then when you come out of it, you get to fall back into like, it feels good when you come back and all you've got is a Zoom call. All I've got this week is a Zoom call in my community. This is like vacation. What are you talking about?
It is, because I remember when I first started doing the Zoom calls, the group coaching for the membership, I was getting all nervous and worried. Now this is like, oh, hey, what's up, guys?
This is cake. That's all I got to do. I'll just sleep through this. This is ridiculous. Another benefit that I think the thing that draws me back to the stage, especially speaking, because I speak at all my live events, but like, is the impact. Like I can totally transform someone's life in 45 minutes or a day long seminar. Like I know for a fact, and I think I know that not because of any like great faith in my own skill set. I'm just a redneck from Kentucky at heart. But like at the same time, I've been to a lot of live events myself. And if you're going to host live events, you need to go to live events. It's like good authors read other people's books, right?
Podcasters listen to other podcasts. Absolutely.
Podcasters listen to other people's podcasts. Comedians listen to other people's jokes. And like, I know I can point to 3 moments in my life where if I had not gone to a live event and been a participant, and if that person had not hosted that live event, I would not be the person I am today. And I see that now on the other side. You can listen to my podcast for a year, but if you come to a weekend with me, you're going to be coming out of that with some big impact. And I know you've probably seen this too from Rubicon, just the impact it's made on
absolutely.
people.
Well, I know I have been affected by going to an event in 2017. Mutual friend of ours, Tom Sylvester, I met him and Jason Brown on the same exact event. They were together in 2017. And literally that one meeting has changed my trajectory of my online business, and everything that I've done is just compounded. I could just trace back all the way to that point. But then one more I'll give you. I went to a live event back, I think I was maybe 23, 24, something like that, just got out of college. And I went to a live event. Only thing I really remember, but it stuck with me. This one guy gave this parable or quote. It basically says, when is the best time to plant a tree? Well, it was 20 years ago. The next best time is literally today. And that stuck with me. And I still say that today, because if you're going to be investing, if you're going to be building a business, if you're going to be trying to get financial independence, whatever it might be, you don't want to look back 20 years from now and say, I wish I was listening to Shane Sam's show and I should have taken action.
I should have had a live event. Oh, I should have had a mastermind. I should have.
You want to look back and say, I'm so glad I did it back then, had that live event, had that mastermind, had that membership, whatever, or invested in real estate, because you took action right there. So yes, my life has definitely been changed because of live events. And I will always go to live events because of all the amazing changes that happened for me. But then all of my attendees at my conferences, my events, my goodness, they cannot stop thanking me. Like every single time they see me, Dustin, thank you. And because I make it about community, about helping them, not about, like money grabbing and all that sort of stuff. It's literally about them. They cannot stop thanking me, and they are lifers. They're going to keep coming back.
I had a friend of mine that lives in New York. She sent me a message the other day. She was at the movies, and she took a picture. Someone was wearing a Flip Your Life Live shirt. This just happened like 30 days ago.
Whoa.
And I'm like, that person, it was so impacted by that event in 2018. It was the 2018 shirt. They're still wearing the t-shirt, baby.
They're still wearing the shirt.
Nobody's doing that from my podcast or from my email list or like anything else. Do you know how I met Tom Sylvester?
No.
He came to one of my live events.
That's right. I remember him saying that.
Yes, and we're great I'm about to record a podcast with him here in about 15 minutes. So yeah, man. And Jason Brown, I also met at a live event that I went to that really impacted me. And he was an attendee there too. And we met at a live event.
Well, the first time you and I met was at a live event at Pat Flynn's. You spoke there.
Yeah, man.
That's
where
obviously we didn't know each other.
I don't know if I have friends anymore that if I think about all the people I hang out with, especially in the entrepreneur world, it's all from freaking live events, man. And like, as a creator, anyone can do this. You can do it. Like you can put together a 20-person mastermind that will change someone's life and impact them. They will never, ever forget that moment. And that live events might be the only thing you can truly create that kind of moment in your audience, or for the people that follow you. And then also too, like, we'll wrap up here with this one. Like we've talked a lot about the cost of live event, and make no mistake, guys, entrepreneurship is not for the faint of heart. You have to have risk to get reward, and you can lose your ass in a live event. So you have to think this through before you do these things, right? But man, the financial benefits on both sides of it are insane. Not just from, there's one, can we be profitable going into the event with sponsors? Cool. We're profitable. Let's have some fun. 2, can we sell something off the back of this and make a lot of money? 3, when I go speak in an event, right? I know that everyone in that audience knows Shane Sams at the end of that event. And there is a long tail beyond sponsorship and sales of goodwill, of sales, of things that will come into your life after that event, where you are going to be profitable in the long term, especially if you're building community, building audience, and not just treating people like, well, we've got to milk them while they're here. Let's build this relationship. I have a belief that everyone who hears my voice will eventually buy something from me. So that's why I love doing live events. Even if they don't buy there, I ain't mad at them. That's cool. Even if we're breaking even on the day of the event, you can point to a live event a year later and always see more money from it if you do it correctly. Would you think that's true?
100% agree. And there's no amount of marketing that will do as well as being at a live event, speaking at a live event, holding on your live. Now, here's the great thing too. Another benefit that I didn't even bring up. Now, because I put on this live event, like I'm the main guy. I run around, make sure everybody's having fun, which is great. Also, I had 50 plus speakers, experts that came, and all the experts and the attendees, I get elevated in their eyes because
Yes.
I am the one bringing everything together. So because of that, more people want to work with me because I am putting this on. Even the speakers say, hey, Dustin, I want to be working with you on everything that you do. Like, how do we work together? Because I am the linchpin bringing everybody together. It's the connecting. If you can do that, that elevates you so much more in everybody's eyes.
Yeah, and that actually spills down to customers too. Like, one of the biggest things I've seen for any of the brands we've created is when what I love to see, actually, let me say it that way. One thing I love to see is when people pod off and they've got their click. Like, there's this group of I had them on my podcast one time. I forget, they call themselves they talk on Voxer, and they call themselves the Voxy Ladies, and it's this women's mastermind that formed within what we do, and those ladies are our biggest fans, our biggest customers, our biggest everything. And they're blessed by that group of people. And they all go back to, we all sat at the same table at your live event. And that's why we get to do this. And that's really what we're all in it for, man, is the humanity of it all. Well, dude, this was a great conversation. I love conversations where I can just kick back and talk nonsense with my friends. But I hope that was beneficial to everybody listening, and we didn't scare you off. I hope you made it to the end when we talked about all the benefits of the live events. But Dustin, where can everybody find you online? And if they want to check out your stuff, want to get into real estate, or even go to Rubicon, I'm sure I'll end up there again next year.
Absolutely. So I would love, if anybody wants to invest in real estate, that's what my passion is. You can get my free real estate investing course, literally give it for free. People have literally started investing just from that. Text the word rental, RENTAL, rental to 33777. Rental to 33777. I'll literally give it to you, show you how to invest anywhere in the country. Then you can also find me on my podcast, the Master Passive Income Podcast. It's 90% just me teaching how to do this investing in real estate. And Shane, you'll be impressed at this. So I actually started liking social media a little bit. So I've been kind of growing on Instagram. So people can find me on Instagram, the Dustin Heiner, THE Dustin Heiner. No, Shane, I'm not that arrogant. It's the only name I could come up, or handle I could come up with, the Dustin Heiner. But yeah, you can find me there too. Go ahead.
My handle used to be Shane Sams on Instagram, and then I lost access to the email, so I don't even have access to my name anymore. So I had to change it all to Shane Sams Show because I'm like, I know I've got it. It's a Gmail. It's on like my iPhone 8. I can't find the phone. I don't know how to log into it. Google won't help me. So you know what? I'll be the Shane Sams. You be the Dustin Heiner, and we'll just help as many people as we can with our pseudonyms.
One last thing: the conference, Real Estate Wealth Builders Conference. If you use the promo code podcast. Just use a promo code podcast, but REWBCON. Just like it's all sound, Real Estate Wealth Builders Conference, REWBCON.com. I'll give you 10% off your ticket just be a part of this. You'll see the community. And this is the reason why I'm creating more events. It's because people and sponsors want more events. You have to be there. If real estate's at all in your wheelhouse and you want to start getting better at it, we're there for you.
Yeah, great conference, man. All right, brother. Appreciate you, man.
Thanks, buddy.
All right, guys, that wraps up my amazing conversation with my good friend, Dustin Heiner. I love that dude, man. He works so hard for his students. He's really a good entrepreneur. He goes out there. He's literally creating content to serve people, literally showing up every day in his online community, and he works his absolute butt off on live events. Live events are an amazing thing that you can add to your business to create some great profits, to go out and make a huge impact. And also, there's a lot of just benefits to having like an anchor event or two on the calendar that will make you a better entrepreneur and make you work harder at everything that you do. So check out all of Dustin's stuff. If you need help with anything live event related, maybe you're a speaker, maybe you're a coach, maybe you're out there trying to start an online business, head over to shanesams.com. Check out all the things that we have there to support you in all your endeavors. That's all the time we got for this week. I'll be back next time. Until then, get out there, work hard, light it up. We'll see you then.